Hey guys, so previously I made this card with this die. And this is a ballroom outfit. Today, I have Latin outfits. Let's go. Hey guys, so we are back today. We're going to do another... I can't speak. Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do another card today. Now, I have got these awesome dies from Alina Craft. Alina Craft on AliExpress. Let's get them out for you. Okay, so there they are without the glare. And these are just beautiful. Now, those of you who know me know that I adore dancing. I used to dance professionally as a child, and these are fantastic. I have this set, which I have not used yet, and I got this one last year, and this is I can't remember the name of the brand. I'll try and find the link for you. And this is brilliant, but fiddly. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile. Where all the bits come out of the skirt and you've got these cut lines. It's beautiful, and it's wonderful to paper piece together, but it's very fragile. So I thought that we would do some today using my new dies and this set, because they are of a similar size. They are of a similar size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them all out in black. That's going to be the thing. We're going to do some silhouette cards, and then we're going to make some shiny lights as if they're at a competition, just as a sort of a celebration, hey let's dance type of card. So I'm going to get to die cutting and I'll see you soon. The only downside is that these are both female. There's no man with them. So I think we're going to need to cut another one of these. And does he work well with her? Or better with her? Oh, he works nicely with her. I mean, it'd be better if she was facing him, actually. Like so. That's nice. That's a nice rock and roll pose. I like that. Yes, that works. Who are we going to do with this one? Oh, I love it. Yes. Okie dokie. So to draw out my stencil, what I did was I just placed the wooden flooring and a couple of the partners on the card just to see what sort of length I've got on that white panel. And then I just sketched out a rough rectangle to show me sort of the top panel of that card where I wanted to do my stencil in. So I've just sketched that out using my T ruler. Ah, this ruler is an absolute godsend. I tell you, I adore this ruler. I'd be lost without it. It's so good for getting straight lines. So I've just sketched that rough box as you can see at the top. And then I was trying to figure out, make sure it was the right length, trying to figure out what I wanted. So I just sketched at the bottom some sort of lights. Now, stereotypically on TV shows, on films, on things like that, when you see these lights, you get two beams of light coming out, don't you? Sort of, you get the casing at the top, and then you've got a beam that goes to the left and a beam that goes to the right. Obviously, that's not how they look in real life. They have a lot more movement and flexibility than that, but that's the sort of stereotypical look that I'm going for. So I've split the top in half so that I can have two lights, one on the left and one on the right. And I'm just roughly sketching out where I want those beams to go. So they're going to go off the side of the card, and then the middle, the beams that are aiming towards the middle will overlap each other. And that's going to allow me to get a really nice sort of mixed blend of colours where they overlap, because I'm going to use two different colours to blend the lights in. Now I'm also going to turn this into two separate stencils. If I do this with one stencil, it would be quite flimsy and it could break quite easily. So I've sketched over the lights for one side with my black pen, just so I can see it. And then I'm going to stick my piece of paper over it, and I'm just going to copy those lines. This doesn't have to be perfectly straight, because when I use my ruler it will be. So I'm just tracing those lines so that I know where I'm cutting for this half the stencil. And then I'm just going to draw the rectangle in as well, so I know where the top is and where the bottom is. So then I can cut that out on this side, and then on the original I'm going to cut out the stencil for the light on the other side. And there is probably a slightly easier way of doing this, but this worked perfectly for me. So then I'm just going to go over with my pen so I know exactly where I'm cutting. I'm going to get my Stanley knife, my cutting mat and my metal edged ruler, and we're just going to cut those shapes out. So I'm going to cut one for the left hand side and one for the right, and I'm just going carefully across those lines because this is printer paper. It only takes one pass with the blade, and just cutting those out very carefully. You don't want to cut past where you're cutting, because then your ink might bleed over into a space where you don't really want it. The only thing I would change if I did this again was I would make the top part where I've got the beams coming from much thinner, because they were not even. So on the left hand one and the right hand one, the actual sort of where the light originates from is a different width, which doesn't look 100% accurate, but other than that I love it. So there's our one side. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and by having two stencils, it is more capable of being blended over, because this is printer paper, it's very thin, and if I'd done it all on one it'd be so flimsy. But also, as I've stated, this way allows me to blend two different colours, and by doing that we're going to get a really cool effect in the middle where the lights cross over each other. You know, imagine if you were out somewhere and you had a blue light and a yellow light, you might get green where they cross over. That's the effect that I'm going for, but just with different yellows. And that is how simple it is to make your own stencil. I mean, it couldn't be easier. If I can do it, you can do it. Okie dokies. So I did a little bit of measuring and drawing and doodling and stuff, as you can see. And so what I did was I placed my floor on, just roughly, and then I added a couple of couples, one further down so they look slightly closer, one further up so they look slightly further away. And then I figured out where I wanted the lights to reach to. And I'm considering that they may be a bit short, but so the first excuse me, the first light, I'm going to line it up with the white piece here and here and shine the lights down. So the lights are going to stop just before the other couple. And I don't know whether I should continue them further down or whether that will be enough. I'm going to attempt to do it with that being enough, because I don't think we want too much bright in here. And so I've cut out one that's this side, and then I've traced the second set of lights so that we have them going across each other, so that these middle rays will cross over each other and we'll get a slightly different colour, because I'm going to use slightly different yellows. So that is the plan. Whether this will work well or not, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to attempt to do it and we'll see how it looks. Okie dokie, so I've just taken all the sticky off of that purple tape so it's ready to use. And yes, this would be much easier if my white panel was not attached to the card base. I was originally going to use these in the thank you cards, the poinsettia thank you cards, but I changed my mind and used the ink blended after I'd put them all together. So this is how I have to do it. You do it in a much easier way for you. So I've just put some tape around the edge so that we don't get any ink bleed on the layer or on the white card base. Then we're going to attach our stencil, line it up with the top and the side, and then we're ready to start ink blending. What I also did was that central triangle was very flimsy, so I added a little bit of temporary tape to it just to stick it down so that it didn't lift up while we were trying to blend over it. Then I went through my colours and I looked at the distress inks that I have and the other ink cubes that I have, and I chose two yellows. I did test them on the side of my paper, which you'll see in a second, and decided which two yellows I wanted to use. Got my blending brushes and started to blend. So I used this yellow on this side and just blended it all over the whole area, and it worked beautifully. Then on the other side, I chose one of my distress inks, and that ended up not being particularly juicy. And so in order to get good coverage, I was having to go over and over and over it, and it started to really sort of irritate the paper. So what I did was I ended up covering the whole side in that distress ink, but then covering it with the lighter yellow in my other ink cube, and that worked out to hide the distress distortion and to give it a nice different yellow colour. So it all worked out in the end. Okie dokies. So that worked perfectly, exactly how I wanted. The only problem was my distress ink, Squeeze Lemonade, went really funny on the paper. So I just covered it with a layer of this Narcissus from Versacolor, and then this side I used the Canary from Versacolor, and they are beautiful. I'm hoping on camera you can see the differentiation between each colour, because it is very clear here, and I absolutely love this. I love this. Okie dokies. So I have done 2 different lengthed lights. Of course the table is still slightly damp because I just wiped it with a wet wipe. There we go. Dry it off. Okie dokie. So we have the long and the short. I'm going to add the flooring onto this one. So now I like to go down to the floor. Oh, I love them. I'm wondering whether I should do a different wood panel there. Bear with me. Hey guys, so we are back with our 2 cards, and I can't decide which one I like better. So we'll start with the blue one because that's what I started off with. So I created the short stencils. So you can create a stencil out of anything. I literally just drew this up in pencil. You can see my first rough attempt to figure it out. Drew it up, cut it out, blended through it. You can make a stencil in any shape you need. You don't need to buy a load of stencils. Don't get me wrong, if it's a detailed thing like when I did my brickwork before Christmas, then yeah, a stencil, really, really helpful. But you don't need the stencil. So I did the silver panel for the lights. I then turned this into sort of like a dance school. So where I used to dance, you would have mirrors around the wall. And I was going to do a solid panel of mirrors, but I thought it looked nicer with them being sort of individual mirrors for each set of dancers. So that was that one. And then I did the red one where I created the longer template. So same thing, I just drew it up, cut it out of some printer paper and just inked through it. So again, this is printer paper, there's nothing on it. Printer paper and removable tape. Done. You don't need to spend lots of money on pixie spray and stencils if you don't need to. I've got a whole load of stencils in my drawer that are paper ones, where I've die cut a circle so I can use that as my moon stencil. Various things like that. So you can create a stencil out of anything. I'm really torn as to which I like better. I like them both for different reasons. I think the lights on this one look better because they go all the way down to the floor. And that sort of looks more like a competition. And I think this one is better because it reminds me of the dance centre with the mirrors behind the people. So yeah, I always think of the dance centre around this time. January is the month that my dad passed away, and so January is always a bit of a wobbly time for me. Hello kitten, have you come to make me feel better? Have you? You're very kind, aren't you? So January is always a little bit wobbly for me. So really, she's now headbutting the camera stand, which is why you are wobbling everywhere. Okay, you're gonna make everybody seasick. Please don't do that. You're going to make everybody seasick. Right, hopefully you've stopped wobbling now. So yeah, January is always a difficult time for me, and I always think of my dad, and he was a dance teacher, and so yeah, I do think of dancing a lot in January. So that's why these were so perfect, so perfect. And yeah, let me know which one is your favourite. Do you prefer the blue or the red? I really can't tell. I love you. Yes, I love you. You are more important than all the cards. Yes, you are. Yeah, so let me know which you prefer down in the comments. And if you have enjoyed this, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it if you would also consider subscribing if you've enjoyed this. I do a range of things. I do papercraft, and I do resin, and I do mixed media. I do a whole variety of things. So yeah, I would, if that is something you think you would enjoy, please subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Keep crafting, guys. Bye.